Okay.
Oh, we're gonna be on the owl.
I see.
Okay, I think we're ready.
Or whatever. Yeah. I mean, it's right. Okay. Okay, where it's like right
No.
now, falls. Okay, yes, so I'm not, probably can get them for a little bit. All right.
Oh, it's like, that's not right now.
No, that's in the past.
I know, like,
Oh, Nancy is on there, or can we never tell?
She's not.
Okay, I'm gonna just text her and tell her we're beginning if she wants to join us. She's not feeling well.
Who's that? I'm sorry, I didn't hear.
Nancy is
Yeah.
not coming. Jean and Frank are supposed to be coming, but Frank is stuck in traffic.
Okay.
Right, I would like to call to order a regular meeting of the Saratoga Springs Public Library Board of Trustees. Today is Monday, April 21st, 2025. First item on our agenda is the approval of our minutes, our March 10th regular meeting minutes and our April 3rd special meeting minutes. Does anyone have any questions or anything that they noticed on those? And if not, would someone like to make a motion to approve them?
So moved.
Thank you, Terry. Thanks, Heather. All in favor? Aye. Thank you. Next is the approval of the expenditures. To begin, we have a request for a reallocation. And Don has pulled it up there as well. This is something that often happens this time of year as we're wrapping up the fiscal year. I had talked with Eric about it. Is there anything there you want to draw our attention to? I know you usually try to move things within categories that are
Right.
similar and.
Right, and I think we've accomplished that. The retirement bill is a once a year big bill that comes. We were a little bit under budgeted for that, but we had some surplus in salaries that we were able to move into that. Conferences and staff training, we're very close to our budget there. It's also we have a number of people who will be traveling to present at various conferences, and also the big annual conference of the American Library Association is in Philadelphia, which is fairly close. So we've got a number of people.
Right, okay.
I think we have staff. So. Now with the rest of these utilities, I'm still not 100% certain if this is going to cover us for
Okay.
the remainder of the year, so we may have to come back next
Right.
month and revisit this.
Okay. So I think I'd like to begin with that one, so it's not so confusing. Is that okay? Is it okay if we break them up just for today to approve the allocations separate from the?
Yes.
Okay, so, moving from salaries to retirement, $21,200. From salaries to conference and training, $10,000. From capital expenses to heat and gas, $5,000. From capital to repairs and maintenance, $5,000. And from capital to electric expenses, $10,000. So it's a total reallocation of $51,200. Does anyone have any questions for Ike? And if not, would someone like to make a motion to approve these reallocation requests? So moved. Thanks, Carol. All in favor, or second? Second. Thanks, Heather. All in favor? Thanks, hi, Jean. No, you're fine. Okay, so then next is the prepaid checks. 73312 to 73319, totaling $6,647.65. And the April warrants checks 73320 to 73415, totaling $667,178.63. The only one I had a question on, hold on, for whatever reason, that one is like mini sized.
I don't know how to make everything on the paper without making it.
You're fine, I just have to get back to what number, I wrote it down. Check 73380, it says. It says Mohawk book, it's under books and rental books, Mohawk Valley Library System, paid by patron. And the invoice, but it was for $804.95.
So that was two things mixed into one check. So it was an actual invoice from Mohawk Valley. We paid for, I think it was a subscription.
There was a
Looks like
Boston
book
page.
Yeah,
Subscription?
yep.
And then also a subscription to Book Page magazine, which.
Okay, Okay, because I thought we don't usually have a patron pay.
Yeah, her was like $10.
Okay.
The
All right,
subscription.
that was the only reason that it flagged in my head of like, wow, what are we taking from a patron? Okay, did anyone else have any questions about the prepaid checks or the warrants?
And it is a big number this month, bigger than usual because of two. One is the retirement expense. And then the other is we got our first big bill from the contractors for the.
Right,
elevator
yeah, I
project.
signed both of those, I saw those. I think that might be the biggest check I've ever signed. Wow. Okay, so does anyone have any questions about those, or would someone like to make a motion to approve the prepaid checks and April warrants and those? Thanks, Terry. Second. Thanks, Jean. All in favor?
Aye.
Hi. All right, next we have the approval of the financial reports, the prepaid checks report, the March warrant summary sheet, the budget report, and the income report. So, the budget, I didn't actually double check this. Like, did he then?
It hasn't been updated.
It hasn't been updated with our allocation. Okay, so you're going to see the percentages of the budgets, not reflect what we have just approved, which is why the retirement expenses is saying it's 106%. Is there anything else in there that anybody had any questions about? And if not, would someone like to make a motion to approve our financial reports? Thanks, Jean. Thanks, Carol. All in favor?
Aye.
Okay. My report, I'm always excited to hear and see the recognition that the programs get, and the upcoming SALS one is to honor and recognize the Read to Recovery programs. It's exciting. I also am always aware of all the other amazing programs going on that perhaps aren't in front of everyone's eyes. So thank you for all of that you do. I'm paying a lot of attention to what's happening federally and the potential funding changes that libraries may experience with the proposal, actual reality of the cutting of the Institute for Museum and Library Services. So I know it was in Ike's report, you've all seen pieces of that. I have reached out to all of my representatives at a state level and a federal level. I encourage all of you to do the same, to remind them of how important libraries are. They were all really happy to hear from me. And I also offered any of our services if we can help have conversations with anyone about the value of the libraries in our community. And also, as I noticed, I said, we aren't going to necessarily know how it's going to trickle down. It doesn't affect the funding of our tax support directly. It affects all of these things that have back services and, of course, colleagues in libraries all over the place, right? So that is something I'm just being very mindful of. Also, Eric is not here tonight. I did speak with him about the question around the capital fund. And I've sent some of that material for you. I'm happy for us to discuss that in May when he can be here, because it's really about how we close out to this year and move into next year with these big capital projects that don't get wrapped up within our fiscal years. The library project is, I mean, the elevator project is a great example of that. So, so that was that piece. That is my report. Public comment. I have not received any new or correspondence or communication. Okay, do you want to share any highlights on your report?
Sure, I didn't know if there are any questions about my report, but, you know, this change from working with the state education department to working with the city of Saratoga Springs, that building permits has been a little bit of a learning curve. They made 3 trips to the building department before we got the application stuff right, but they, did kind of assure me that we would not go into the queue, that we would maybe get, you know, bumped to the front of the line once they looked at all of the materials that we provided to them. So, and we should get an email soon that it's been entered into the system, whatever that means. I'm not certain about that. But moving on, the big question was about whether, from the architect, whether it even required a permit, because it wasn't going to change any of the footprint of the building. And it,
Or do they even have someone who can evaluate how the work is going, right? If they're,
but and I guess there was a pretty long delay in getting an answer to that question. So congratulations to Heather on her election to the South, and thank you, because, you know, we need all the support there that we can get. There having so many changes at Sal's right now with
transitions.
big transitions. Yeah, they've got 3 pretty high level people who are moving on, like retiring, moving on to new things. So it will be a big change. And program of the year, I really couldn't be prouder of this initiative that Emily and Mary have taken on. It really is a terrific initiative. I'm glad to see it. You get the recognition. If there were other questions. Oh, and the read-in, if you didn't have a chance to come, I mean, it was really a phenomenal day just to see, especially on the first floor, like every seat occupied all day long with people here on purpose for this purpose. You know, 97 people took the time to write something about why the library is important to them. We gave away lots of postcards with addresses to legislators for people to write their feelings about libraries to. We had some displays about things that luckily not so much in our community, but across the country have been challenged in libraries. Including the day before we got the list of the 400 some odd titles that were removed from the Naval Academy Library. So it was great to see people turn out to support that. And that really was the brainchild. Caitlin Sheldon.
Nice. Wonder what happens if someone then requests, like, do they do interlibrary loan and things through like the Naval Library, right? Like if they removed something but someone requested, do they deny the request?
Yeah. It would be very interesting to find out, because if you see the list, there's nothing on it that's not Main Street.
Right, yeah, and that have been around, most of them,
Right.
a long time. And if Ike isn't gonna, remind everyone that the vote is Thursday for the budget and the trustee election. Anything else, Ike? Is that it for you? Does anyone have any questions for Ike? Jen is not here. I can report on her behalf that the strategic planning committee did meet, and there's a lot of really great progress happening with the tweaking of the strategic plan, and I bet we'll see something in May. This is my guess. Don, you want to draw our attention to anything in your report?
Not particularly, it's kind of just an ongoing thing, we're working on computers, we're cleaning up website. A lot of mundane stuff that just has to get done. Nothing particular, we're so slim pickings to the things that, the different things that I was doing that I threw in, just different ideas, different discussions that IT has during the month, just little snippets of the conversations, what we talk about with staff, between each other.
Yeah, nice. Very nice.
What is MFA? That is multi-factor authentication, so your text to your phone, or banks do it a lot now, so we're now all caught up and everybody's using it. I don't know if any status has changed yet with our insurance, but we sort of made the push so that we could have cybersecurity insurance. I'll have to talk to JA and see if anything's changed at this point.
Any questions for Don other than that? Before we go to Trevor's, hi, Frank. So feel free, since we've gone through some things already, if there were particular things you were wondering about or you had questions about, I'm happy for us to go back. We are in the department reports, and Trevor.
Hi, anybody have any questions about anything that was in the AOS report? Just the one little highlight about the Comics Plus, which we have started subscribing to a couple months ago. There's a wicked jump from, 62 checkouts, 52 checkouts to 185. And when looking on the back end of the analytics, it looks like two things did happen, that we did have, some more people discovering that we subscribed to the platform, but then those people that had discovered just went absolutely bananas, because you can check out an unlimited number of titles from it, and we just pay a flat fee. So as far as value for the dollar that we're able to offer our patrons with just this platform, especially, and it's the selection for kids and teens is phenomenal on this platform as well. So I was very happy to see the boost.
Nice.
So did a little dance. That was definitely cool.
Anything else for Trevor? Any questions or anything? Catherine?
I did want to mention something. I forgot to put in my report, but it was in the financial report. Stewart's gave us $1,200 in a match grant this year. They're very good to us every year. Not only do they give us money, but they always generously donate to our summer reading prizes. The match grant we try to use to enrich the summer reading program. So most years like last year, we invested the funds in buying better books so that, it's more of an exciting prize than maybe an old classic from the 80s is not as exciting. So this year we're going to split the money between some better books, and then we have a performer from the Onondaga Nation that's going to come, and they're a little pricey for our usual, but it's something so special that I think it's worth it. So I'm really excited that they gave us the money and we're going to spend it.
Thanks.
Business as usual.
Okay.
Although we did put up a bulletin board display on Comics Plus, just saying.
Okay. Well, it's literally around and around. Nice. Also, and thank you for, I appreciate that you share with us what the displays and things are. It just gives us that picture of how much variety is happening on this.
So bad I missed that owl.
Yeah.
Thank you.
Oh, if you weren't in the room, this is how big the owl was.
Oh.
It looks huge in that.
It was a close up, but it's the smallest owl of New York State. It's a Sowit owl.
What is it? What
A
kind?
Sowit owl. And somebody, I forget who it was, somebody asked me a while back about how expensive owl pellets are.
Yeah.
And we're assured that we can source some locally now.
Oh,
They said they'll make some for us.
I don't even want to know how they go about doing that.
I don't know if they cost more or less, but I'm excited.
Yes. Local owl pellets. Yeah. All right, okay. Jamie, is anybody have any questions for Catherine before we move on? Okay. Jamie?
The only thing I wanted to just touch on real quick, I don't have it in this month's report because it technically happened in early April, so I'll put it in next month. But we had our capstone event for Saratoga Reads. We had the audiobook narrator join us, Daniel Henning. He joined us via Zoom. We had a Skidmore professor, Beck Crafting. She moderated the event and it was phenomenal. So loved it. He was fantastic. Everybody in the audience really enjoyed it. So I'll talk about that more in my next month's report. But
Great.
and then if anybody had any questions about this month.
My only question is how you're all doing with imagining your programming things for the summer, which I should have asked you too, Catherine, with the changes with the elevators, that all going okay? With where you're gonna shift and how you're gonna,
Yeah, I mean, we, like, to me, the most important thing is the having room for all those children. So like Catherine has put in all of her space needs and we're working around that.
okay,
But yeah, but we're working together. It's
Great.
going fine.
great.
Okay.
Any questions? For Jamie? Anyone? Rick, we heard about the fire,
Fire.
the smoky,
Yeah,
not
yeah.
quite full fire, enough of a fire. We don't need more of a fire than that.
As soon as I smelled it, I knew what it was, and the firemen couldn't figure it out, they had the wrong thing. But luckily, it was similar to the Saratoga, it was a fan motor that overheated and the wiring gives off a little lightweight smoke, but it has that acrid
Yeah.
electronics burn smell. And I told Dan, this is a fan, let's see what units out there. Went up there, took the cover off, yeah, it's this one. Get it taken off. And we finally got the order in to replace it. Biggest thing is the timeline to get the.
Right.
It was only $1,200. Like everything, that unit works very hard. And it's just how it goes, when doors get closed up and air doesn't move as easily. Cause one of the main areas it takes is both inside and outside of the quiet study area. So some challenges there, but we're pretty good. Yeah. It's like everything, when it comes to equipment, you never really truly know.
Yeah.
Was that just a bad unit? Because you wouldn't think that equipment would have gone bad that quickly, but we've been seeing some more failures, and is that the quality of the equipment that's available as you. It's the whole supply chain piece, and our cleaning supervisor just did a phenomenal job getting her people out the door because she hadn't participated in a fire drill with us because they weren't ready.
Yeah,
So I thought that was awesome.
great. Great. Any questions for Rick about his report?
Rick, you highlighted the need for upgrade of their BMS.
Yeah, we've been working on this a couple months, there's been a lot of things going on. I was hoping to get it done before the new budget. that increase is now gonna be 25%.
So,
Cause not all of it comes from the US of A. So there's a small portion of electronics upgrade, but the biggest portion of the upgrade has to do with our software. And unfortunately, that comes from outside the United States.
So right now, so you thought the total cost of the upgrade is 20,000
That
to
would have
60,
been,
but now you're expecting 25% higher?
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah.
Um,
there are no discounts,
Yeah.
anything,
Yeah.
that was straight up.
this is just the reality that
Yeah.
is gonna happen.
so the current budget proposal. Anticipates the earlier figure,
Yeah, I just said that quote had expired.
right?
You know, I tried to get him to hold the line. I said, well, we're gonna negotiate a service contract, you know, is there some way? He goes, I'm not in control of that other party.
Right.
So I don't know how to help you on.
So, but your question is that then in the
Do we
budget
anticipate the
is,
need for a budget?
when are we gonna have to change the budget? I guess we'll wait for you to get back to us.
Right,
Wait.
and we'll have to see what the actual cost is.
Right,
We'll get another quote. I'll get him to quote it again, but it was pretty
yeah,
straight up from the way I heard it.
and that's a tricky piece of, it's another reason that seems to me it would be good to have some of this in a fund for us, because how are we gonna predict what's gonna happen over the next year especially?
The real challenge is
So, okay.
older software is expiring and there are no replacement parts for the electronic hardware. There is no compatible piece. It's no longer available. Can't get that anymore.
So they're
So,
expecting that all that just has to be replaced.
but it's only 3 little electronic boxes and it's the way it communicates to all the sensors and the hardware and displays it down, you know, on the graphics. Because we can see just about everything in the building on all levels. There's more information there than we want to see. But, so it's a combination of all of the above. But it's really how it communicates, because some of our information goes outside the building to that center and then comes back. Because it has to authenticate, no one, it makes it so no one can change it. So there's some authentication
Okay,
portion to that also. But really, it's a Siemens software package that we had customized. So that comes out of Germany.
yeah, okay. All right, well, we'll stand by to see. Any other questions further? Right, Kelly, I see that some people have resigned and you have some requests to appoint. You want me to do those first? And then, so I would like to make a motion to appoint Rafael Serrano as a building maintenance worker. Operations part-time, effective March 24th, 2025, and Kathy Plowman, a computer clerk, adult services part-time, effective April 7th, 2025. Someone like to second that motion? Heather, all in favor? Okay, and Kelly, do you want to share anything about?
I have just one small update. As of today, both the librarian positions that I'm hiring for part-time librarians, they have accepted the position. So I have background checks going for both of them.
Great, okay. Are you okay then with us appointing, doing the formal
Yeah,
appointment next?
Yeah,
month?
because I have to wait for the background checks to come back.
Right, okay.
Yeah, that'll be on my next one.
All right, that's fine. Good. Well, that didn't take very long. Did it? Nice. Okay. So that's it for our department and director reports, unless Frank, you wanted us to go back to anything.
Oh, no.
You're good, okay. The strategic planning committee, I gave that little update in when I did that part of Jen's. We don't have anything directly in an unfinished business. The land sale is still moving forward. It should happen at the end of this month. The things have been approved of the city's end for the changes in the lot lines and things. Ike and I heard some things today about something in relationship to the title search that we're gonna provide some information about. So in new business, we have done this request for appointment. The next item is the sales annual meeting, which is Monday, May 19th at 5 p.m. at the Saratoga National Golf Club on Union Avenue. If you can attend, and you can tell Ike today while we're here, that would be great. We were trying to look at your calendars during our little break. And I have the list of the dinner options. The next is, that the Read to Recovery program is the sales program of the year. That exhibit, yes, that's on there. Is that on there? Yes, that's the letter. There is in our packet something that Sarah Dallas put together on the implications for New York libraries. The impact of the removal of funding for the Institute for Museum and Library Services. So if you haven't read that, I would suggest that you take a look, which is only 0.004% of the federal budget. That's what that cut is saving. American people, and the newest item that we just added, that I asked us to add to our agenda is making a change to the schedule and closing early on June 4th, 5 p.m. because the Belmont concerts are going to happen again on Broadway. So that changes how all the traffic flows downtown, and I think I saw something that they were expecting 2 or 3 times the amount of people to that of what they had last year.
And I know they pushed it back because some of the merchants weren't so happy last year that they had to close early, but so I guess they've they scheduled it so there could be a second in their seating maybe before the big concert.
Oh, well, I think it also with the whole street closed off, you could, even if you wanted to go down and do an errand or something, you couldn't get down there. So I would, is there any discussion about that? And otherwise I'll make a motion.
Did you say 5 p.m.?
Yeah, so I would like to make a motion that the library closes on June 4th, 2025 at 5 p.m. to accommodate the Belmont concert. Someone like to second that? Gotcha. Thanks, Carol. All in favor? Okay. So that is everything on our agenda for our regular meeting. We have a different kind of schedule tonight. We're going to adjourn into an executive session, and then we have our budget meeting happening. So first I'd like to make a motion to adjourn our regular meeting and go into an executive session with 3 lines. So would someone second that?
Katie, hi, it's Nancy. So if you go into executive session, is there still a Zoom component to that?
I'll leave you here because we're going to be here. That's okay, right, Don, since we're not closing up anyway.
Yeah, I'll just turn off the stream.
He'll just stop the streaming.
And then you'll just have a Zoom.
Okay.
Do I have to start again? Do I have to re-enter?
No, we'll just leave you there. Before I adjourn this part of the meeting, do you have any questions or about anything, Nancy?
No, thank you very much. It was good
Okay.
to listen. Thanks.
Okay. All right, so did someone second that motion then, that we go into executive session? You did, right, Jean? Yeah, all in favor? Okay, there is food that Ike has.
Yeah, Tanya's gonna take, so we have some food, since we're having an executive session here, we're gonna take the food into the cafe. So people who don't have to hang around for executive session, we'll get something and then we'll follow that.
Okay.